All right, this is going to be the first part of Unit 6 on rational functions, and you'll see this video is mostly on rational expressions. All right, so we're going to simplify these and then state the domain of all of them. So the key thing here is to factor as much as you can and see if you can cross anything out. All right, so the first thing I notice is I have a quadratic trinomial in that numerator. So I'm going to do a times c that adds to b. So 3 times negative 12 is a negative 36. So I need factors of negative 36 that add to 9. So I'm going to choose 9 and negative 4. So if I split the middle with 9x and negative 4x and factor by grouping, factor out the negative 4, I'll get my two factors are 3x minus 4 and x plus 3 all over. Take out a 4, and I have x plus 10. Now nothing can cross out, so this is fully simplified. But for the domain, I'm going to write negative infinity, comma, negative 10, union, negative 10 to infinity. All right, because I cannot plug in negative 10, or I'll end up getting 4 times 0 in the denominator, which would be an issue. Okay, let's try b. I'm going to factor out a 7 to get n plus 4 on top. Factor out 9n squared, leaves me with n plus 4 on the bottom, and look at that, we can cross out this. So my fully simplified expression is 7 over 9n squared. Now, when you do the domain, make sure you go back and look before you crossed out, because even though n plus 4 is not in my fully simplified expression, it does need to be a part of my values that I cannot include in the domain, or my excluded values. So negative infinity, comma, negative 4, union, negative 4 to 0, and then 0 to infinity. So the 0 is coming from the fact that I have n by itself in the denominator. Okay. Let's factor this one. So I have x minus 6 on top. Now, if you want to do the split the middle, you can. All right. I know there's just not that many options for getting negative 19. So I'm going to write minus 6 here and minus 1 there. If I foiled, I would get 3x squared minus 18x minus 1x, which gives us the negative 19x. And then negative 1 times negative 6 is positive 6. Again, you can do the split the middle like we did in part A, but I know how to do this without that. So that's why I'm just going straight to it. And you'll see the x minus 6 is cross out. So my fully simplified expression is 1 over 3x minus 1, with the domain being negative infinity. Remember, we're going to go back to before we crossed out, to 1/3 would make 3x minus 1 become 0. Union 1/3, comma 6, and then 6 to infinity. All right, let's move on to doing some multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. Now, I'm not going to do all of these in number 10 because I want to try to cut this into some shorter videos so people might actually watch more of it. But I'm going to do 5 questions in this video on performing operations, so A through E. Okay, when you have multiplication, it's really just a continuation of what we just did, where you just want to factor everything. I can take out, I can take out a 3, which leaves me with 7x minus 6. And then, oh, look at that, it's 7x minus 6 in the denominator, so those cross out. You can also look diagonally, right? So the 3's cross out, which leaves me with just x minus 9. Now, you don't have to do the domain. It's not asking for that with these. Now, with addition or subtraction, we're trying to get a common denominator. Now, n plus 5 cannot be factored. 4n minus 3 cannot be factored. So the least common denominator is actually the two of these factors multiplied together. Now, I'm not actually going to multiply them out, but I write it like that. So when I copy this down, I can multiply top and bottom for each of these fractions by the factor that it needs. So this first expression needs 4n minus 3 in the top and the bottom, and the other expression needs n plus 5. So I'm going to get, when I do this, a common denominator of just n plus 5 times 4n minus 3. And now I'm going to bring down the numerators that I will distribute. All right, so I'm going to get 4n squared. That's going to be minus 12n minus 3n is minus 15n plus 9 plus 5n plus 25 all over my common denominator. So when I get my like terms, I get 4n squared minus 10n plus 34. Don't forget to put this over the common denominator. All right, let's do 3 more. Again, another subtraction, but if you look, I don't need to do any factoring because these denominators are actually the same. So this makes it much simpler when they already have a common denominator. Just going to subtract like terms. A minus A is 0. Negative 3 minus a negative 1. So make sure you're subtracting this a negative. Subtracting negative is really just adding. So negative 3 plus 1 is negative 2. Okay, D. Whenever you see division, the first thing you want to do is you want to rewrite it where you copy the first expression, and then the second fraction I'm going to change to be the reciprocal, because dividing is the same as multiplying by the reciprocal. Okay? Now again, I'm not going to actually do any multiplying here. I'm just going to do factoring. So I'm going to factor this 5x squared minus 16x plus 3. Again, similar to the one that I did before, right? I know that there's only certain places these can go, and if I FOIL this, right, I will get that 5x squared minus 16x plus 3 all over. I have x, let's use 4 and 3, so plus 4 minus 3, right? Because 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. 4 minus 3 is 1. These are a little bit different because they are binomials. I'm going to try to 2x squared and an x plus 4. And this one, let's factor out a 6x, which would be 5x minus 1. Start crossing out stuff that is the same. You get a lot of stuff that's crossing out. And I can reduce the 2/6 to be 1/3. So what is remaining is that x squared. Oh, wait. Oh, just kidding. Almost missed it. The x squared and the x can be just x and 1. So what's left is x over 3. All right, let's do one more here. Okay, so we have 4x minus 6 over, actually this is multiplication, so let's go ahead and just start factoring. I don't need to rewrite it. So I can take out a 2. 2x minus 3. The x minus 1 squared cannot factor it anymore. This one is x plus 3, x minus 1. And then I can take out a GCF of x to get 2x minus 3. So I'm going to cross out 2x minus 3. Cross out x minus 1, but only one of these, so that's still to the first power. That's it in terms of what I can cross out. So I'm going to write 2 times x plus 3 on top, and then an x times x minus 1 on the bottom. Again, you don't need to distribute. You can, but there's no reason to. The key thing I'll say is I'll get kids that'll cross out these x's. You cannot do that, right? Those are full factors, so unless they have the same factor, then you cannot cross them out. All right, so that is E. I'm going to pause here because I'm going to do, in part 2 of this unit, I'm going to do 3 more of these expressions, and I will do the solving with that. All right, check in for that part 2.